my constant pursuit of finding the thinnest and lightest tech. Since I'm always traveling, I have found my update for the year. So my last travels, I was just in Vegas to Barcelona to New York, and next week I'm already heading off again. So weirdly enough, I checked out appliances, was in Barcelona for MWC, and then for the launch of the new MacBook Air, iPad Air in New York with Apple. And a lot of that is actually inside of here. And like the theme says, it is thin, lightweight tech. If you can believe it, I've got all my devices in this little pack that is including a laptop, a tablet, charger, smartphone's camera. If you're in the market for lighter stuff, this is the episode that you gotta check out. So the pack itself, this is just a little carry-on from DB Journey. I like it a lot since it has this nice little handle that I can grip it with, and also it clips to my suitcase via these two clips here. So typically when I head to the airport, they are kind of clipped in, and then right before I'm boarding the plane, I unclip it, and then this is the tech that I kind of carry with me onto my seat, and then I can work from my seat. I charge all my devices, etc. So in the front pocket, I actually forgot my passport, but in here I've got my wallet, same kind of thing. And also another good luck charm because it's thin and small. So this is obviously a Pokemon card. Bulbasaur is my favorite Pokemon. One of my next trips, I am heading to Asia, Japan specifically, and I'm going to hunt more of these slabs down. This is probably the thinnest thing in today's pack, but it's just my own little personalization, and that lives in the front pocket. And like I said, for the rest of the pockets, this is, I guess, where all the magic happens. So the first two devices, like I said, are the new updates from Apple. You can choose which one you like to go for, so you can travel either solely with MacBook or solely with an iPad. I would honestly say it's tough to get by with an iPad being your only device. Really depends what you do. I think if you're mainly using it for media consumption, for browsing the net, for a lot of app-based things, totally fine. If you want something a bit more robust with something with a dedicated operating system, it is tough to really beat the new M4 MacBook Air. This is Apple's thinnest and lightest laptop at 11.3 millimeters and 1.24 kg. The main upgrade to this, honestly, is just the internals with a new M4 chip and this new sky blue colorway. Snag this at $8.99 with a student discount. No need to ask any more questions. It's the laptop that 95% of people should get. Even if you're editing 4K videos, which I do, I can edit on this timeline completely fine. The only reason why you'd be getting the Pro is for those super heavy Pro workflows, theoretically extra ports, which I'll get to in a second, but if you want something just for on the go, thin and light, that's the name of the episode, this is the one to get. For the iPad Air, this is also a super thin device. This is 6.1 millimeters and 461 grams. As the name implies, it's a really lightweight and easy to use tablet. It is thinner than the entry-level iPad. Honestly, the biggest difference between this and that iPad is Apple Intelligence. If you don't think you need it, stick to the base level, but if you want to be as thin as you can go, as light as you can go, you have to get the iPad Air, hence the name. I do have a full separate iPad buyer's guide that I just made if you want to check out, but weirdly enough, one of the questions was, are these the same blue? They are not. The MacBook has the official colorway of sky blue, which I think is a bit lighter, a bit less saturated, whereas the blue on the iPad is just called blue. I'll let you guys be the judge, but both of these devices do fit into that DB Journey pack. They can fit anything up to, I would say, the size of a 13-inch MacBook. Case-wise, I'd say that you can skip the one for the MacBook because it's all aluminum, but for the iPad to keep the screen protected, this one is budget-friendly from ESR. This is their flip magnetic case, and you can see how it folds up, and you can use it in both portrait and landscape orientation, which is really nice. It's got a slot up top for the Apple Pencil, and like I said, the biggest thing here, it protects your screen when you've got it inside of the bag. So those are your two main devices. If you can get by with just an iPad, let me know how it works for your workflow. Are you like a two-screen person or a two-device person, or can you just get by with the one? The next one is super cool because it actually combines three separate devices into one, once again keeping things lighter and more compact. So this is the new Lexar Workflow Go. It essentially combines three things like I mentioned: a power bank, a portable SSD, and an SD card reader all into one. So the nice thing, you don't have to have three separate devices floating around in your bag. It's all combined into this one sleek aluminum package. So the power bank is just this attachment piece on the bottom that kind of snaps to it via magnet. So you can see that this is already charged. This has 5,000 milliamps of juice. So if you've got your device, so for example, my phone, which I'll get to in a second, this can charge that up, or other devices like your headphones, which once again, I'll get to in a second. The second ones are the two modules, and you can kind of mix and match for how your workflow goes. So you can have 2 separate SSDs if you want. So if you do need a lot of space, totally fine. You can just get 2 separate bays. Or because I mentioned that the MacBook Air or even the iPad Air doesn't have an SD card slot, being a creator, I can just have an SD card reader into one of those modules. And then when I'm transferring footage from the workflow go to say my MacBook, that works seamlessly now with just one cable. And say I want to back up footage that I just shot from my camera, I can save that both on my Mac as well as the extra SSD slot in the second bay. And of course you have that added benefit of having that little power bank just in case one of your devices runs out of juice. You can even use this solely with a smartphone. Say I just want to back up everything to my phone, I can just plug that into my smartphone, and that also works with iOS or Android. And Lexar has their own app which you can check the status of the backup. So a really cool device that once again combines 3 into 1, kind of completing that trifecta and keeping things super lightweight and portable, which I am always a fan of. So smartphone wise, like I said, I've been testing out a couple over the past month. This is more on that, once again, budget friendly side. This is the new Techno Camon 40 Pro 5G. Check out how thin this device is. It's 7.29 millimeters, and even compared to the iPhone 16e, which is Apple's, once again, entry level or economic budget entry level device, the Techno phone is cheaper. Even if you were to compare them, the Techno phone has 120 hertz refresh rate versus the 60. This has a triple camera system versus the one on the 16e. I actually have a full day in the life video of this coming out soon. So if you want to check that out, I actually shot it on the weekend, not so much in the studio. So it's a bit more behind the scenes of how I test out devices. If you want to check that out, I will leave it linked. I'm hoping that it is up in time, but this phone is almost half the price, close to a third the price of say a regular flagship. So I think you're getting a ton of value for this. What I've been pairing with the Techno, not only because it's an Android device, it also has this orange button, which I am a true fan of the color. Obviously to match that. These are also the new Beats Powerbeat Pro 2s, which have been out now for maybe close to a month. If you're looking for a solid pair of earbuds, these have gotten a lot thinner since the Gen 1s. The big feature about these actually track your heart rate. You can see some of the sensors built in. That actually works with both iOS and Android as well. These have also been updated with active noise canceling, so once again, great for traveling on a plane, just helps out drown the sound, and they are great for working out. So they're like that multi-purpose pair of headphones that you can kind of do everything with, commute, work out, travel with, and obviously if you like the color, you gotta get the orange ones. So also in the pack, camera-wise, I've got this guy. So typically if you're looking to keep things light, it's hard to carry around a dedicated, say mirrorless like I have. Even the Sony's, the A7S III, it's small, but not small enough to carry around solely in a separate pack with the rest of your gear. This is just the trusty DJI Pocket 3. It's a really great creator tool. To be honest, it replaces my camera for a lot of shots. So when I was doing a bit of vlogging, I just had this because it fit into my pocket. I brought this to Sagrada Familia, to Park Güell in Barcelona. Just really lightweight that you can kind of stick in and out of your pocket. And what's nice, if you are creating content, it switches between both landscape and portrait just by orientating the screen in whichever way. So once again, a really great tool. It's super stable, so it has built-in stabilization. You can shoot in log if you want. And even with this extra little attachment at the bottom, if you don't need those separate pieces, it's actually probably close to half the size, I would say, if you don't need to set it down in a tripod and are just going handheld. This is probably the smallest you can break it down to. It still easily rests on a table, and then you can do stuff like vlog, talk to it. It's pretty cool, compact, and obviously keeps it nice and lightweight. Audio-wise, this is something else from DJI as well. It's their Mic 2. So instead of carrying around the full, charging case with the receiver, I find more often than not, I am just keeping this little thing at home, and I can just travel with one microphone on its own, because once again, if you check out this size, super small, you can literally fit it into your pocket, into one of the small compartments, and then from there, if you want to record on it, you just gotta hit the little button on the side, and then it starts recording to the internal storage. So once again, if you want to offload that audio separately onto your computer, it actually syncs with the Pocket 3 as well, and that just means you don't need to carry around the separate charging case. Just remember, you do need to juice it up separately. You should still get enough juice though for the entire day. day, and then once you get back to your room, your hotel, wherever you are, you can just charge it on its own. If you want to go full lightweight and thin, DJI also just released the new mic mini, which I'm eyeing for my next upgrade. I know some of you may have upgraded, but it is so tiny. It's almost like the size of the magnet on the back of the mic too. So if you are a fan of it, let me know. I could potentially upgrade and make this episode again, and even lighter and even smaller. Charging wise, I've just got this brick from Belkin, so it's not as bulky as some of my larger ones. It is kind of maxed out though at 50 to 60 watts. It still charges multiple devices. It still charges up my MacBook, which is probably the largest device in the bag, so that's totally fine. It's affordable, it's 10 bucks off of Amazon. So wearables, I typically am not a fan of a smartwatch. I just wear like my OG watch, which is actually pretty similar in size to the Apple Watch Series 10. So if you're on the market for like a thin device, I would just say grab the Series 10. Don't grab the Ultra, it's too big, it's too bulky. If I was like a true baller, I'm gonna talk a little watch nerd talk here. The Bulgari Octo Finissimo Ultra at 1.8 millimeters takes the cake for the world's thinnest watch. It's only a cool 400,000, so if you are a super baller, get that. If you are not, if you're like the rest of us, like I said, just get Series 10. It's got a thinner profile than all the rest of the Apple Watches. They did just update the design last year, so even the Apple Watch Series 11, slated to come out later this year, I'm sure it will share the exact same design and profile. And for the band, I actually went for the Milanese one. It's actually thinner than most other silicone or rubber bands, and it makes the watch a little bit classier, I think, in my opinion, but still nice and light. And last but not least, just some lifestyle pieces that I carry around. They have definitely got some use. So a lot of you have asked what glasses or sunglasses that I rock. These are just Warby Parkers. I got these close to a year ago. A lot of questions because it actually doesn't have the little nose bridge, which I like. It just has this one on the brow. So a little bit different. 120 bucks, I think. You can order these online as well. And what I actually really like, surprisingly, I've used this quite well. It's their little portable case. It's one of the thinner ones I've seen. You can actually see how banged up it is because it has been living in my pack, but I've kept the sunglasses safe, and the carrying case just takes some of the abuse. On my way home, I did pick up a little stationery book because I'm a huge fan of that. I actually got this in France, I think, when I was coming home from Barcelona. Weirdly enough, no direct flights Barcelona to Toronto. I don't know why that is. Just picked up this little design book since I thought it would look cool for B-roll. If there's anyone French out there, you can tell me what this says. My parents live in France. I should technically know, but I don't. And my go-to, just some chapstick that I use because it is always dry and air is shitty when I'm on an airplane. That is all of the tech, all of the thin and lightweight stuff that I keep in my like little everyday bag. Surprisingly, all the stuff fits into this guy, even that 13-inch MacBook Air. I will leave everything listed down below. If there's any other pieces like that DJI mic that I need to upgrade for thinner or lighter ones, always let me know. I'm curious, since I'm on that never-ending quest to travel lighter and pack less shit. Catch the rest of you in one of my next ones. Peace.